Mario Lanza is making his second TV appearance in the space of 4 weeks. He knows no mercy will be shown if he fails to sing live this time. Mario is about to make his television debut. It's a return to public life and performance after 2 years in the wilderness. Following the Student Prince debacle at MGM, Lanza felt director Curtis Bernhardt had crossed the line by criticising his singing performance of the song Beloved, and demanded that Mario do a retake, this time less passionately. Lanza stormed out of the studio, and what followed was a year and a half of legal wrangles with MGM that blocked Mario from performing in person, on radio, the recording studio, or appearing on screen, big or small. His RCA recording royalties were being used to offset his IRS debt. Even after this professional nightmare was settled, with Mario re-recording Beloved beautifully, and another actor, Edmund Purdom, miming to his magnificent recordings, Mario was free to go back to work. But he didn't. Something happened to Mario during this troubling and stressful time. And save for a single 4-song recording session in June 1953 that produced the classic Song of India, there was no work. Instead, he found solace in food and drink. He also enjoyed time with his family, of course, especially the new arrival, Damon, his first son, and then Mark. In 1954, there was a realisation that he had to get back to work and make money. A deal was struck with CBS and Chrysler to appear on their Shower of Stars show on September 30th, 1954. He was in no real shape both physically and mentally, so he decided to check himself into a sanitarium to help control his weight and heavy drinking. As the date of the broadcast approached, Mario's insecurities grew, and he decided not to sing live, but to lip-sync to recordings. This wasn't unusual in TV, and his co-star, Betty Grable, was planning to do the same on the broadcast. Mario rehearsed in the run-up to the show, so that his miming would look convincing. Showtime.
Mario, baby! Ready, baby!
And Mario looked well and relaxed, and good fun was made of his reputation for being unreliable, temperamental, and difficult to work with.
Temperamental? That's right. Oh, that's just a rumor. It started because he threw a tantrum, tore up his script, fired his director from the set. You want to hear something funny?
Make me laugh.
The boys here were telling me that you are temperamental.
Me? Temperamental?
Silly, isn't it? You made me laugh. What did I tell you? Now wait until you hear the idea I have for a picture for you.
Another picture for me?
Oh, now get this. The Lanza story, starring you as guess who?
Mario Lanza?
Ah, nothing gets past this. Great idea, isn't it?
Sounds wonderful.
You'll make the picture then.
No.
That's my Mario, always with the jokes. He knows we've got a contract.
Of course I've got a contract. I read it every day.
Yeah, you must know it by heart by now.
Every word. Now, take paragraph 3, section 2. It says that whenever my name appears on any billboard, it's got to be in letters 3 feet high.
I put that in the contract myself. You deserve it, baby.
Thank you, Freddie. Say, you know that billboard outside the studio gate?
Just like it says in your contract, your name is in letters 3 feet high.
Sorry, Freddie. I just measured it. Only 2 feet 11.
2 feet. What a sense of humor. And you thought he was temperamental. Well, listen. Mario!
3 great songs were chosen. Mare Chiare, Vesti la Giuba, And Be My Love.
It really looked wonderful, and Freddie, I want in.
All right, you're in. I've got it. We'll have the Grable, Lanza, James story. And what an idea. I can already see the name of the sequel. Son of Grable, Lanza, and James.
Son of Grable, Lanza, and James.
The show went well, and there was a reception at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and Mario was surrounded by well-wishers and reporters. But the rumblings had started about the miming, even as the show was going out live. But the outrage wasn't so much about the miming itself, although that was a problem. It was the fact that the playbacks weren't new and specifically made for the show. No, Mario's fatal mistake was using 2 recordings that were 3 years old and another that was 4 years old. This fed into rumours that he had lost his voice, the press were out for blood now and they were relentless, and there was no stopping them. Mario at first denied that they were old recordings, and CBS got in on the lie and added to the lie by claiming that Mario was under doctor's orders not to sing. The sad truth, of course, was simply that Mario was terrified to sing live, and the fear of failure was crippling, and after 2 years of inactivity and stress, he just wasn't the same man or performer that he had once been. The news-making saga, combined with high ratings for the now infamous broadcast, led, of course, to a booking for a second Shower of Stars spectacular. But this time, there was to be no question that Mario was singing live. Performing in front of an audience can be an ordeal for any artist. It is said that Enrico Caruso approached many a performance praying the earth would swallow him up. Such was his terror of failing in public. "I would not wish this fear on my worst enemy," he was often quoted as saying. Caruso was by no means alone. Many years later, the esteemed Franco Corelli would, in the words of one colleague, suffer the torments of the damned before each public performance, and at times crippling stage fright would simply overwhelm him. But it's probably fair to say that neither Caruso nor Corelli ever experienced the kind of fear that must have assailed Mario Lanza as the night of October 28, 1954, and his second Shower of Stars television performance approached. Lambasted by a self-righteous press for lip-syncing on the show the previous month, the knives were already being sharpened for his second appearance. And Lanza knew that no mercy would be shown if he failed to sing live this time. It was not as if he hadn't already suffered enough. In the previous 2 years, as we have seen, he lost the student prints and his MGM contract, was subjected to a crippling injunction that stopped him working, faced near bankruptcy, and a lien imposed against his recording royalties by the IRS. And on top of it all, an unrelenting press campaign painting him as a temperamental egotist who had lost his once great voice. It is difficult to imagine a more terrifying scenario for any artist, let alone a person as sensitive as Lanza undoubtedly was. It probably mattered little to the press that Mario Lanza had already proved he could still sing. Earlier that month he had summoned a group of journalists to his home and performed an impromptu recital after the lip-syncing scandal to show he still had that voice. The performance at his home stunned all those present.
Oh
typically, the event had gone largely unreported. This was hardly surprising at a time when many journalists were openly hostile toward Mario. Why let the facts get in the way of a good story? Far better to concentrate on a misdeed than a triumph, and the tenor's troubles, both real and imagined, had already provided the press with plenty of rich pickings. Time magazine, for example, would later crow that Lanza's voice was already showing tarnish by 1954, and few journalists would have bothered to dispute the widespread view that Mario's career was essentially over. The man had it coming to him, in any event, or so the stories insinuated. Who did he think he was, refusing to give press interviews and acknowledging that he possessed a great voice? Clearly this man needed cutting down to size. And who better to wield the axe than those self-appointed arbiters of public opinion? The tabloid press. Having already portrayed Lanza as an over-emoting, gluttonous has-been, their work was nearly done. Only one last damning report remained to be penned. Lanza's final humiliation as he disgraced himself in front of millions of viewers. His demise seemed deliciously inevitable, and indeed the vultures were already circling. But heroes, no matter how fallen their detractors may paint them, will often confound the enemy. And Mario Lanza was no exception. Determined to silence his critics and, more importantly, regain his self-respect, he had enlisted the help of his friend and occasional vocal coach, the great Giacomo Spadoni, who said of Mario, "God has put into this boy everything that is required of a great singer." Together they had selected two numbers that would showcase Lanza at his very best: the dramatic E luceva le stelle from Tosca, and the romantic Someday from The Vagabond King. As October 28th arrived, an afternoon rehearsal of the latter had gone splendidly, with Lanza producing some gloriously honeyed tones.
Someday you'll seek me and find me. Someday of the days that shall be, surely you will come and remind me of a dream that is calling for you and for me.
Now it remained for the tenor to steel his nerves for the evening that lay ahead. Would he really be able to pull off his first live appearance in front of an audience in over 3 years? And now the moment had arrived. Slightly overweight and wearing an outlandish oversized collar, Lanza nevertheless looks every inch the operatic tenor as he appears behind the curtains and strides onto the CBS stage. Visibly nervous, he looks briefly around while he seeks to maintain his composure. Then an oboe signals the poignant introduction to E luceva le stelle. And he fleetingly closes his eyes, losing himself in the beautiful music as he literally becomes the doomed hero that Puccini envisioned. His complete involvement in the aria now assured, he begins to sing. Nervousness is still evident, but one thing is clear: the voice is intact. Lanza smiles to himself as he sings. Recalling the memory of his lover's embrace, and shaping the exquisite words with his hands, when he arrives at comes into his own with such ringing splendour that the reverberation around the auditorium must have startled the assembled journalists into snapping their pencils. Now in control, Lanza takes things up a notch dramatically, pouring everything he has into the aria. One senses a man oblivious to everything around him as he emphatically repeats the line, It is the cry of a man who has lost everything, truly singing from the soul. Moments later he sings the climactic line, The emotion of the moment temporarily transports him to another world, a near hysterical, and the rendition is over, and Mario gulps with a mixture of relief and exhaustion. Seemingly drained from the sheer drama of the moment, the audience erupts with wild applause, and Lanza, still dazed from the experience, acknowledges the cheering in an uncharacteristically subdued manner.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
He tells them, somewhat breathlessly.
And now, in answer to all the wonderful letters you sent me since the first Chrysler show, may I sing for you the one that you requested most, Someday, from the Vagabond King.
Although fans must have scratched their heads over this supposed request, Someday, after all, had not yet been released on any Lanza album. It proves an inspired choice for the tenor. Alternately sweet and heroic, it had been one of the highlights of his radio show 3 years earlier. And here Lanza's commitment to the song is as compelling as ever.
Someday you will seek me and find me. Someday of the days that shall be.
He sings at the outset, filling the auditorium with his dulcet liquid tone. Clearly more relaxed now, he savours every word, with Spadoni's slow tempi highlighting his sensitive phrasing and impressive breath control. The rendition is a masterly display of Lanza's soft and loud pedals.
Surely you will come and remind me.
He sings caressingly, forming the words with magical delicacy. Moments later, he is thrillingly exultant.
Of a dream that is calling for you and for me. Someday, when the winter is over.
Switching pedals seamlessly, uncomfortable only when the offstage chorus takes over and he is marooned with nothing to do. The impact of his performance is a marvel of dazzling vocalism and irresistible stage presence. Supremely confident in the second half of Someday, he stands there, arms outstretched, building the song to a devastating climax that is reminiscent of his on-screen delivery of Torna Sorrento in the movie Serenade. He even looks similar here. His approach is fearless, with a blithe lack of concern for the sustained high A on which he must conclude the song. Where other singers would have betrayed their fear of the difficult note that is coming, Lanza appears to relish the challenge.
Someday, in the flush of the spring, my soul shall discover the soul born for her lover.
He sings with great feeling, again utilising both soft and loud pedals, and then the climax.
The man with a heart of a king.
yet magnificent. And the king indeed of tenors, Lanza reveals himself to be here, gratefully acknowledging the terrific applause, and not quite believing that the brief concert is over, he welcomes Spadoni onto the stage, clinging to his friend's hand as the latter tries to depart. It's a touching gesture of love toward the man who had helped make the event possible, and not the only time that Spadoni would come to the rescue with his support and musical expertise. My only regret is the sheer brevity of this performance. With Lanza in such fine vocal fettle, he could have sung anything that night, and the mouth waters when one imagines the likes of Che gelida manina, which he had sung for the press that month, also being on the programme. Lanza would sing live on television on 2 subsequent occasions, only one of which has been preserved on film. Considering that he gave over 150 concerts in his brief career, that is a meagre sampling indeed, and all the more frustrating by the knowledge that we live in an age in which every Bocelli concert is faithfully captured in pristine digital quality. But let us be grateful for the 2 brief concerts that we do have on film. And out there, that October night, some chastened reporters suddenly had a lot of explaining to do. So if you liked this video and want to see more like it, hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much.